Each week on Culinary Confidential, Christina Cates, a seasoned foodie who has worked at some of New York City's top restaurants, will share her passion for the culinary world. Whether you're a professional chef, a restaurant enthusiast, or a lover of good food, Christina dives into the heart of hospitality, exploring the trends, triumphs, and challenges facing the food service profession. And you won't want to miss her chats with some of the most interesting and influential industry voices. And now, please take your seat at the table as Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates starts now, exclusively on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates. This show is produced in association with my dear friend, Lucas A. Ferrara. Before we dive into the topic of tonight's show, I want to mention that New York City Restaurant Week is going on right now. It started this past Monday, the 21st, and it runs through August 17th and is available in all 5 New York City boroughs. What I love about this is you get to try a new restaurant that maybe has been on your radar for a while, but you can experience it at a more approachable price. Restaurants are offering prefix menus, so you have a 2-course lunch menu option available, 3-course dinners, and they're priced at $30, $45, or $60. So if you want to know more about which restaurants are participating in this program, head to NewYorkCityTourism.com for more information. Okay, to build off of last week's show, which was all about at-home cooking with Chef Carmine Di Giovanni, I thought it would be nice to continue the encouragement of cooking in your own home by talking about food and family traditions. Now, I've often said that food is the common thread between different cultures. It's something we can bond over, a universal language, if you will. Now, food traditions are passed down through generations, whether it be in handwritten recipe cards from your great-great-grandparents or simply through shared memories told at dining tables. These traditions remind us of where we came from and sometimes who we still want to be. Every family has that one dish that means home. I can tell you my background is mostly Irish and Italian, and that's largely the cooking I grew up on. Now, the Irish side isn't exactly known for their cooking, but my great-aunt Phyllis's Irish soda bread recipe floods all my family members' tables around St. Patrick's Day, and it's literally the best I've ever had. Now, on my mom's side of the family comes the Italian cooking. And I can't think of a Sunday growing up where the whole house didn't smell like gravy and meatballs cooking on the stovetop, or a holiday without my great-great-grandmother's sugar cookies. I don't even eat these cookies, but it's just the tradition. They have to be made every holiday. This show is all about those moments that live on far beyond the meal itself because in a fast-moving modern world, protecting these traditions offers a powerful sense of permanence, helping new generations understand and honor their roots while creating new memories of their own. But as time goes on, it gets harder and harder to do this. I see this in my own family all of the time. We have strong culinary traditions that come the holidays every year. It's like, okay, we don't need that this year, or let's skip that this time. Life seems to get in the way, and everyone is busy with work and personal obligations. So, for example, for Christmas prep, it's like, why make 4 different cookies when all we need is really like 1 or 2? But my guest tonight is Frank Iovine, a retired New York City police officer turned mindfulness coach, motivator, and public speaker, who just so happens to have published a book called Ricette e Ricordi di Nonno. Now, Ricette e Ricordi is part cookbook, part memoir, and it's about living a healthy lifestyle and the delicious Mediterranean foods that can promote that. Angelo Iovine, Frank's grandfather, lived to be 101 years old eating the recipes from this book. His philosophy regarding food was to keep it fresh and keep it simple. Frank is helping keep those family memories alive with this book. Now, he sent me a copy of it months ago, and I have to say I was really impressed with it. As soon as I took it out of the packaging, I was overwhelmed with the beauty and legacy infused in it. The book is full of pictures of Italy, pictures of his grandfather Angelo from back in the day, but most importantly, recipes from his family that have roots in Naples. I have to tell you, nobody is prouder of their family recipes than Frank Iovine. I've had many conversations with him before tonight, and let me tell you, he can talk about his nonno, Naples, and even Stoicism all day long if you let him. But what's different about Ricette e Ricordi is that the book is published side by side in Italian and English. I don't speak Italian, but can appreciate this effort because it makes the book feel very authentic and helps you connect to someone that you've never met before, like Angelo Iovine. Frank is also bringing on the show in a little while his publisher in Italy, Mariano Graus of Graus Edizioni. Mariano is in Italy tonight, so we're going to get him on the line at the end of the show, and he can tell us how it's different publishing a book in the U.S. versus Italy. Now, let me please welcome Frank Iovine to the show. Frank, welcome to Culinary Confidential.
Hi, I am very excited to be here with you. Buongiorno, ciao, everybody. And what a conversation it's going to be today.
It is. It's going to be very focused on family tradition.
Which these recipes are from my nonno, my grandfather.
Right.
Which were handed down to him from his mother. And they're also from my grandmother because my grandmother and grandfather were both from the same town in Naples, Margianella, which is about 20 minutes outside of Nola.
Okay, but if people are looking to buy this book and to find it, they should look under
Ricette e Ricordi di Nonno.
Okay,
Una
perfect.
stile di vita mediterraneo.
All right, Frank, I need to know, you have a very obvious love for the culinary arts. Why did you become a cop instead of diving right into cooking?
Well, that's a very good question, and I'll give you the quickest and best answer I can. I went into the police department because I needed a job, and I still kept my training in the culinary arts on the side.
Oh.
And then attempted to go into culinary school while I was an active police officer. And just the hours in culinary school and the hours for being a police officer did not work, and I truly needed something to pay my bills.
That's right.
That's one. But two, as I moved up in the police department, I kind of saw another way of meeting people and introducing and learning about food, because I worked in different neighborhoods all over New York City, from the Bronx to Manhattan to Brooklyn to Staten Island to Queens. And in each area
You're a five-borough guy.
the 5 boroughs have little pockets of 100% ethnic food. You just have to be willing to walk around and find it. And that's when I really saw the correlation from my grandfather's cooking to Italy. Now, my grandfather's recipes and my grandmother's recipes, I can't leave my grandmother out of it because she'll get upset with me,
Okay.
are as true to Italian Neapolitan Napolitan cooking as you can get to. The one difference is that the ingredients they used were based on the ingredients that were available in 1920s and the 1930s and the 1940s. There wasn't Italian grocery stores all over the place. There was very few Italians, so they had to make do with what they had. And I'll just bring up one recipe out of the book real quick.
Okay.
One recipe out of the book is called mogliaccio, which is a Neapolitan recipe. It's made on Ash Wednesday for the fast until Friday, and it's filled with eggs, sugar, and what would have been farina, which is semolina flour, but that was very hard to find. So they ended up using, do you remember the old childhood farina with the little kid on the box?
Yeah.
That's what they ended up using in it.
Hey, they had to make do.
They had to make do.
That's funny. All right. What is your earliest memory of a meal that felt so special in your family?
That would depend on a couple of things. It would depend on the season. It would depend on the event during the season.
Okay, well, we're in the summertime, so give me a summertime memory.
Okay, so a summertime memory would be mussels marinara served in my grandfather and grandmother's backyard with the garage open, with all my aunts and uncles there, and my grandfather would be walking around with a big pizza tray with the mussels already in half, and everybody would be taking 2 or 3 and eating those foods.
That sounds great. Where'd you grow up, Frank?
I grew up in Queens.
Oh, where in Queens?
In Flushing.
Nice. Who did most of the cooking growing up in your household?
My father did.
Really? Not your mother?
No, my father did. And my grandmother passed away, and my grandfather succeeded her by 27 years. So for a good portion of my adult life, my grandfather did all the cooking. So I'm very used to the male counterpart being in the kitchen and being like, I'll tell you a funny story. My grandfather used to make Sunday gravy. Now, there's an argument we can get into Sunday gravy to Sunday sauce.
Right.
We can get into that. Just let me finish the story first,
Go
and then
ahead.
I can give you what that's about. So we used to have to take my grandfather to church. So we would go to church, and he would have the sauce going, or the gravy, whichever one you want to call it. We'd be leaving the house. I have 2 sisters. We'd be going, Grandpop, you going to turn that off? You go, no, we no worry. So we would take him to church, and then each one of us, as we drove back to the house, we'd be looking to see the plume of smoke, like the house is on fire. We would take bets on who was the grandchild that was going to go home and see the house on fire. We would get home, the sauce would be bubbling away, the aroma you could smell coming down the driveway without a problem. And this, every Sunday this happened. And sometimes he would make extra stops. Oh, we got to go get this. We got to go get that. And then you were another half hour, you're going, all right, this is when it's going to happen.
Oh, that's terrible. But the sauce was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When we talk about family food traditions, especially when, there's moves, there's marriages, the generations change, how do you keep it alive? Or how has it changed in your family over time?
None of the recipes have changed in my family over time. The book, Ricette di Ricordi, Meals and Memories with Nonno, started out as me just writing down the recipes that I knew from my grandfather, and I was just trying to do a small little keepsake.
Right, for your own family.
For my own family. And for friends that ate what my grandfather ate with my parents and wanted the recipes. So what ended up happening is as I'm writing it, I'm actually also doing some work for my speaking events and for my mindfulness Stoic philosophy, and I'm writing an email campaign. So I'm speaking to my writer, and I say, I'm going to write I'm writing a cookbook. I think what do you think of this? And she says, well, your grandfather lived to be 101, and he's basically a vegetarian. He only ate meat 1 or 2 days a week. The rest of the week, he ate vegetables, beans, lentils, chickpeas, greens. So she's like, it's worth it. So I discussed with her, and we came up with 16 stories, which is the basis of the book. So there's 16 stories. My grandfather left Italy in 1921 at the age of 17. He was one of the last boats that came through Ellis Island, that went through all of the immigration that was done on Ellis Island, and then came here. And with that, he brought everything with him that he could.
Yeah. I read the book from cover to cover, and I really did enjoy reading this part cookbook, part memoir. Mm-hmm. There is really so emotion that's incorporated into the fabric of the book. And I want to know why it's so important to you to publish this book of family recipes and stories.
Well, one, my grandfather lived to be 101.
Yeah.
So let's just give 10 years for extraordinary genes. What got him the other 90 years is the Mediterranean lifestyle.
Okay.
Which is very important in life. It's what you eat. It's how you view food. It's how you enjoy it. It's how you prepare it. It's your mindset. My grandfather never owned a car. He walked everywhere, which is very big in the Mediterranean lifestyle. So my grandfather worked for the Department of Highways, and he used to cut the grass.
In New York City.
In New York City. And he used to cut the grass on the Belt Parkway and on the Cross Island Parkway by hand.
What?
Like with a push mower.
Oh, I think that was like a pair of scissors. No. I'm like, what?
So, by hand, by walking with a push mower. So, but what he used to do is along the way, he would plant vegetables. He would plant peach trees, peach pits. And then as things grew, because he worked there for 20, 30 years, he would bring things home. So one of the memories that I have that's not in the book is my grandfather used to take me dandelion picking and mushroom picking. Now, for any of the old school Italians will remember driving on the highways and seeing the cars pulled over with people picking dandelions on the side of the highway. It's a big thing. But my grandfather, we would walk from where he lived to the Cross Island Parkway, and we would walk along the Cross Island Parkway. So a lot of people ask, well, why would you walk, to the Cross Island Parkway and do it? And my grandfather would say, I said, Grandpa, why are we walking over here? He goes, Frank and Neil, well, what do you see here? I go, I see the side of the highway. He goes, you see any of the dogs here? I go, no. He goes, oh, we don't have to worry about the pee.
That's a great point.
That's the reason why he picked it on the side of the highway.
Oh, he's really a pioneer, isn't he?
He is. He was ahead of his time in thinking and everything else.
You have kids, right, Frank?
Yes, I do. I have one daughter who's 17 at this time.
So you teach her the family recipes. You cook
Yes,
with her.
I do. Yes.
But do you share with her the importance of never letting this die?
Yes, she understands that because when she goes out to eat, she is, I don't want to say a food snob, but she understands the flavors that are supposed to happen. And so the cookbook, which we didn't get into, is bilingual.
Yeah.
It's English and Italian. The recipes are in English and Italian. The stories are in English and Italian.
Side by side.
Side by side, everything.
You could almost teach yourself Italian by reading this book.
You can. You very well can. And my daughter now understands the difference because when she goes to eat at her friend's house or in restaurants, she knows as soon as it comes out whether it's good or it's not good. And it has nothing to do with Dad making it.
Yeah.
It has to do, she knows
The standard.
What it's supposed to taste like, what it's supposed to smell like.
What is your
what I
favorite
like.
Italian restaurant?
My favorite Italian, here or in Italy?
Anywhere. I'm going to go anywhere.
So there are a few.
Okay.
I do have a few. If I'm in Manhattan, it's Song e Napoli.
I love Song e Napoli. I had the Song e Napoli guys on the show.
Correct. Do you remember his name?
Chiro.
Yeah, what's his last name?
Iovine.
Correct.
Wait, are you related to him?
We are long-distance cousins.
Stop.
I swear to God. Yeah.
I love
Somehow, some way. Well, we call each other cousins.
the Neapolitan Pizzeria, Houston
Correct.
Street, Upper West Side,
Side,
Rutherford, which is where I live.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were long distance cousin. I just
Well,
thought maybe everyone in Italy's last name was
No,
Iovine.
Iovine is a very common name down south, but it's not that common. It's not that common. So somehow or another, we have our families crossed.
So that's your number one pick for New York, which I think that's fantastic. I think they do a really great job
So
there.
if I'm in Long Island, I'm going to go to, actually, let's go to Suffolk County. If I go to Suffolk County, I'm going to go to Ostia Umbria, which is a steakhouse, an Italian steakhouse. They imported the grill from Florence.
Wow.
The steaks are
Sounds
insane.
expensive.
So it's a husband and wife pair. The wife does all of the pastries and the pasta, and the husband does all the meat dishes.
Okay. What's your favorite in Naples? Because I know you go there often.
Correct. So my favorite in Naples is a restaurant in Nola. There's a couple of restaurants. So if I'm in Rome, my favorite restaurant would be...
I can tell you what mine is.
Okay, what is yours?
Antica Pesa.
Ah, is that the one in Bari?
No,
Antique?
in Rome.
In Rome?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
Mine-
actually have one in Brooklyn now.
Correct. Mine is Pirelli.
Okay, I haven't been there.
It is very old school. We're going to go back to what happens when we eat things and what brings us forward.
Okay.
So, first time I tried to go there, they were closed because in Italy, the month of August,
Yep.
everything's shut down.
That's right.
Everybody's on vacation. God bless the Italians. So, the second time I go there, I go to walk in, right? And so I'm walking in, and what do you think is the first smell? The first aroma that hits me?
The sauce.
Nope.
I don't know.
The fresh linen.
The fresh lint. I wasn't going to guess that, Frank.
No. So have you ever, when you go to over your grandparents' house and your aunt and uncles for the holidays and they have all the fresh linen out and it's got that very unique smell, aroma? That's what I smelled. And right after that, goosebumps. I'm like, oh, man, I am going to eat good. I'm ordering everything on the menu. I don't care. And the food was amazing. Now, one of the reasons, there's two reasons why that I have found. The ingredients are one. The other thing is it's what was made by our grandparents, because when things are made and they bring us happiness, our bodies will produce neuropeptides. The neuropeptides is what brings us our emotions.
Okay.
So Neuropeptides is the way from mindfulness from a gentleman by the name of Joe Dispenza, who is how the brain interacts with the body and the body interacts with the brain. The brain likes something, so it sends out the neuropeptides, which says this is good, and it makes you feel good. Those are the feel-good feelings. Now, on another level of that, one of the most important ingredients that I have found is the passion of wanting to make somebody else love. If you're eating in a restaurant and the food is made with love, you will definitely notice a difference in the flavors. The energy that goes in from that person creating that dish becomes part of the dish. That's why some of these dishes from my grandparents and from your grandparents are created that way. And that's why when it tastes the same, you go to a restaurant and the food tastes exactly the same the way your grandparents made it, or your aunt, or your uncle, your body just goes through all of those amazing feels, comfort foods.
I mean, it's just part of the fabric of who you are and how you grew up. My brother-in-law has this one dish. I mean, he's half Spanish, half Polish. And he grew up eating this one dish. I think he calls it stuffing, like a Thanksgiving stuffing, but it's literally just like eggs and white bread baked in the oven. And I look at it, I'm like, this is disgusting. And he's like, I love this dish. This is my favorite dish. It reminds me of my childhood. And I'm like, all right, so it's personal to you. I get it.
Right.
All right, Frank, let's go to a commercial break. Stay tuned. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
I'm joined tonight by Frank Iovine, author of Ricette e Ricordi, which translates to Meals and Memories with Nonno. And this particular show is all about honoring family tradition through food. Frank, welcome back to the show.
It's still great to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. We met over Instagram, which I thought was so nice.
When things are organic, it happens.
That's right. Okay, so family tradition is so important to you, so important that you wrote a book about it. Like, why do you think these traditions get lost, though, through the generations? Because at one point it was so important to know these family recipes, not just in the Italian culture, in any culture. And it seems nowadays it's just not as important to people. It's not a priority.
So there's a couple of reasons why. One is nobody wrote down the recipes, which is a big problem.
That's a great point.
And then people don't understand. When my grandparents were cooking, did my grandmother use measuring spoons?
No. Measured with her heart.
Making sourdough bread, do you think they loused? No. Do you think they folded and did all the stuff that everybody does for sourdough bread? No. It was simple. It was all by eye and by feel.
Yeah.
And if nobody took your hand and put it into the dough so you could feel what it's like to make fresh pasta, you don't know what you're looking for, so you can't reproduce it. And when you can't reproduce something, it kind of loses its way. That's one aspect.
And, another one might be just the accessibility of food easily now, too. And correct. Uber Eats, every restaurant delivers. It's like, why do I need to cook when someone else can do it for me?
Correct. That is one aspect, but that's when you get into the Mediterranean lifestyle, where it's part of your focus to make sure that you're preparing your food. Why? because you know what's going into it.
Yeah.
When you're getting all of those pre-made foods, you truly do not know what's going into it. Then the other situation is like my parents, my dad was Italian, first generation. My mom was German and English. So we had to switch up some of the recipes because she wanted to eat her authentic recipes, which was like a sauerbraten or a pot roast.
Right.
So when that comes in, some of those really small, integral recipes, they go out the window. One of my favorite recipes from my grandfather was insalata fagiolo, which is just warm white bean salad with fresh garlic, really good olive oil, lemon, and oregano, which was simple.
Yeah.
But it kind of got lost because my dad didn't have the time to make it, and my mother didn't like it. So
All right, well,
they didn't make it.
How can we encourage people that are listening, you know, from whatever walk of life, whatever culture, to keep these traditions alive in their own home?
One of the key things, which is something that I do, I try to converse with my neighbors. Try to get to know your neighbors because all of your neighbors, I live in a very international neighborhood. There's people from Italy, there's people from China, there's people from India, there's people from Guyana. Learning their food and then speaking to the elderly of their areas and getting them to, you know, just being there to learn with them. I mean, you've worked in the kitchen. You know what it's like. And grandfathers and grandmothers are some of the best teachers because they take the time to show you, but they've learned not to force it on you. So you have to ask. And then just make sure that they're not leaving out one ingredient.
Right. But like also encouraging some of these younger kids to maybe get off some of these screens and get in the kitchen, be more hands-on.
Be part of it. So the book, Ricette di Ricordi di Nonno, we are turning it into a textbook for the Italian language. Myself and a professor from Hofstra, Chris Vaccato. And one of the things is activities. Going to local libraries where the Italian teachers can take their kids and bring them to the library for a talk and a tasting so they can understand the way food was prepared.
So are there any recipes in the book you want to talk about?
So let's talk about 3 specific recipes that deal with the harvest and what happens during that time. I still jar my own tomatoes. Which is a tradition that's been going on in my family for years.
Yeah.
Now, when we first started jarring them, we used to put them in old Pepsi bottles and then cork them, which was a pain. We finally moved to mason jars just to make life easier.
Yeah.
But those tomatoes, the one thing that I remember from summer recipes would be a pizza. My grandmother would make the dough, and then when we were jarring the tomatoes, all of the tomatoes that were left that they didn't have enough to make in a jar would then be made on a pizza. And it was just a simple pizza. Like I now bake my own sourdough bread. And I thought it was going to be more of a difficult or arduous task because of time. But once I took the time to break down the steps, it became very, very easy, and I can get everything done very simply. So that's one aspect of it. The time, part of my cookbook is about the Mediterranean lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the reason I found the Mediterranean lifestyle is because I needed to change some habits in my life. And I realized that my grandfather had a very, very good life and a very full life.
Yeah, he was the blueprint for you.
Correct. So I started looking at that, and then I also found Stoicism. And one of the key things about Stoicism that they talk about is not that we don't have enough time, but we use our time improperly. So that's really the key. So once I was able to learn the quick dishes that you can learn, Italian cooking is using the ingredients fresh from that day so that there's no leftover. And then the Neapolitans, the Napolitans are great for reusing stuff, like a pizza fritta, which is leftover pasta, what people would call a frittata, but only it's made with the leftover pasta from the night before.
And there's egg in it?
Yeah.
Is that recipe in this book?
No.
Why didn't it make the book?
because I couldn't find the exact recipe.
Oh, from your Nonno?
Well, from my sisters. My sister had one recipe. I said, does anybody have this? Anybody have this?
Yeah.
And we found it after the book was published.
Oh.
So, but that's okay. It'll be up on my website. Now I'll get into my favorite recipe, which was also done in September, is when he would start to cook it, because that's when the weather cooled down and you could cook in the house.
Okay.
So he would make...
Did you not have air conditioning?
No.
Oh, my God. It sounds terrible.
So, very funny. Quick story to Italy. I go to Italy in the summer, and I go to visit my family up north. I'm in Milan, and I go in the bedroom, and I'm sitting there. It's the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And it's a heat wave.
Oof.
Not an air conditioner in sight. Just a fan.
Sounds about right.
And as I was laying there in the bed with the fan, with the oscillating fan going...
Yep.
I'm sitting there, and I had flashbacks to the 1970s in my bedroom because we had no air conditioning growing up. So, but anyway, back to this recipe. My grandfather would make string beans and potatoes with the leftover fresh tomatoes that he was now picking from the garden. So it would be fresh tomatoes, potatoes that were boiled separately, string beans that were fresh picked from the garden, and then fennel sausage. And the key ingredient is fennel sausage. So it's a dish that is all mixed together, and then the way that I do it, you leave some of the liquid from the potato and from the string beans. And as all the flavors are coming together, if it needs to be a little bit thicker, you add a little bit of potato because it's going to thicken it up. And if you need a little bit of more string bean, then you add the string bean liquid. And then you get this overall flavor of just freshness that I can close my eyes, and it just talking about it gives me goosebumps.
All right, so when it's a holiday and your whole family's getting together, everyone has these same recipes, right? It's like the Bible in your family. Who's responsible for what?
It depends on the dishes. My sister Christine normally hosts Easter, so we'll just use Easter.
Yeah.
I make the cacciofola. I make the artichokes because it's very time consuming, because ours are braised for 3 to 4 hours. This way they fall tender right off. So everybody has a component. My sister Maria makes all the desserts. She makes all the pies, the escarole pie. Now, escarole pie is an amazing dish. One of the best dishes my grandfather made for me, which he only made it once for me, was stuffed escarole. So it's a head of escarole stuffed with apples, anchovies, raisins, and garlic and pine nuts. And then you tie up the top, and then you steam it.
Wow.
Unbelievable. The flavors just permeate everything. You get the sweet, you get sour, you get everything mixed in together.
That sounds delicious. Although I'm not really an anchovy person. I can sometimes muscle through in a Caesar dressing, but that's really it. I know that's like a big part.
I'm going to have to come back and bring some tastings for you.
It's a big part of the Mediterranean lifestyle, though.
Yes, it is.
Because there's so much nutrition in them.
There's so much nutrition in everything from the Mediterranean. One, because everything is fresh. Everything is used, and then it's used to a point so that there's really no leftovers. That's one component. And
the other component is the physical activity. They walk everywhere.
Correct.
We rely so much on transportation.
Correct. So now we were talking, you mentioned that I do public speaking on mindfulness.
Yeah.
So as I was writing this cookbook, which was just a small keepsake, and now the cookbook was translated to a fully bilingual cookbook through Graus Edizioni, Mariano, who'll be on a little bit later. One of the things I found in doing my background on the Mediterranean lifestyle, the Mediterranean is its similarities to Stoic philosophy. Stoic philosophy has 3 main components: logic, physics, and ethics. They are very simple. It's your relationship with nature, your relationship with other human beings, and your relationship with yourself. And if you look at the Mediterranean lifestyle, they're strong in all 3 of those.
Yes.
So for me, when Stoic philosophy died out, it didn't die out. It just got rebranded to the Mediterranean lifestyle.
And you're keeping it alive.
I'm keeping it alive, yes.
All right, let's go to commercial break. When we get back, we're going to get Mariano on the line. If we can get him on the line from Italy, that'll be great.
We will.
And we'll talk about the difference in, publishing books in the U.S. versus Italy and all that good stuff. Stay tuned. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970, The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970. The Answer.
I'm joined tonight by Frank Iovine, author of Ricette e Ricordi, which is a part memoir, part cookbook about meals and memories with his nonno. And this particular show is all about honoring family tradition through food. On the line now, we have Mariano Graus. Now, Frank published this book in Italy as well through Graus Edizioni. Did I say that right?
You got it.
I got it right. Yeah. So, Mariano, welcome to the show.
Hello to everybody.
Greetings from Naples. Excited to have you on. Can you tell me about Graus Edizioni? This is your family's publishing company?
Yeah, it's my family publisher company, and we publish some cookbook like the cookbook of Frank Iovine, and we publish a different type of book, not only cookbook, but with Frank. We find Frank for the first time, and we go to USA with Frank to see all the American food. But when Frank came to us, he said that he's Italo-American, and all the food that he showed to me is Italian food. So I'm surprised to do that. When I come to USA, I think, oh, maybe he do the classical Italo-American recipe. But when I go to Frank's house for the first time, I see him cook the same recipe that my grandparents cooking for me, and this is unbelievable.
That's amazing. All right, let me ask you, how does the publishing world differ in Europe versus the United States? Because I've never published a book before, so I know nothing about this world.
Basically, we see in the market in USA that is a lot of Italo-American, because all the books that we publish in USA, we publish in bilingual for Italian and American, because we stay a lot in contact with all the Italian Institute culture, all the Italian foundation, because we really take care about the Italo-American in America and the Italian in America. So we started to do that a lot of years ago, like 5 years ago, and in the past 3 years, we growing up, we meet people like Frank, people like Chris, that is really huge in the Italo-American community.
How did you meet Frank Iovine?
She came to us with a traductor. He say, "Oh, I'm Italian." We didn't trust him, because a lot of Italo-Americans say, a lot of people in US say, "Oh, I'm Italo-American," but nobody's like Italo-American. But Frank I can say that he's a real Italo-American, that he's third or second generation, and with him he takes all the Italian tradition, all the Italian
Mariano,
recipe.
What's the difference between the publishing in Italy and the publishing here in the United States? Because that's one of the reasons why I chose Italy. When I came to Graus, I got welcomed in like being welcomed into a family. And when I published first in the United States, I was just a number. So can you explain the big difference between Italian and American publishing?
You can explain how you are in the family of Graus. Like, if you become an author of Graus, you become part of the family.
That's special.
And over this, And over this, the difference is basically when you publish with the American publisher, you publish the book and maybe they give you to you an agent and you move from yourself. When you publish it in Italy, we almost with my company, we follow you in every moment, every step. Like we organize for you an event. We try to help you to do all events. We support you on social. We support you on everything, the marketing, everything that we can do for help the author. We consider like it's a family. If we help the author, we help ourselves.
So you offer publicity and distribution. Does that not happen in the U.S.? I don't know.
No, this happens in New York in different channels. So maybe in the U.S. it's more difficult to have an event, to organize something. They give you an agent to do that.
Right.
But it's not the same thing because an agent work is different from publisher house.
Okay. But you accept direct pitches, not just agented submissions only, like in the U.S.
Yeah, we do all this stuff for helping every case the authors, for give the max support that we can do with authors.
So what other books do you offer at Graus Edizioni?
We have some novels, some poetry. We published some book about cyberbullying and a lot of novels. Like we have like 100 book published for every year, but we have a big selection on the arguments. So we have one argument about the cookbook, one argument about the novel, and one for the poetry.
So let me ask you, because you are in Italy, when you come to the U.S., because I know you come and you visit with Frank often, and you come and stay with him, how does it differ, the family tradition and just like the food recipes in the U.S. versus Italy? Do you see people in the U.S. honoring those family traditions the same as they do in towns like Naples?
I see two different parts, like the Italo-American that try to follow the new rules about the new Italo-American food, that is chicken parmigiana.
Italian-American, right?
That is Italian-American. And they follow this rule. And some people like Frank that follow the old Italian rules. Like when I see Frank cooking is different from the way that I cook, but it's the same that my grandmother cooking for me.
You said the key word there, Mariano, rules. There are certain rules in Italian cooking that should be followed
like what?
All the time. Well, one of the rules is that they use pasta water when they're cooking their pasta to thicken their sauces.
Right.
Where most Americans would just throw that pasta water down and drink it. In Italy, it's a very important part of the dish. So when you have those 5 dishes that they talk about, the Alfredo, the Carbonara, the Amatriciana, all of those are made, or the Grisha, they're all made with the water from the pasta, which gives it, my favorite summertime recipe is pasta limone, pasta with lemon and butter. It is the most, and pecorino romano cheese.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that.
Most important thing is, Mariano, you said rules, and there are certain rules to Italian cooking. They just started something. The Institute for Italian Cooking is creating a subcategory, not in a bad way, called the Italian American restaurants, because of what we spoke about earlier. We spoke about the recipes that had to be moved over because of ingredients. They couldn't get the same ingredients in Italy. So with that, they had to create new dishes. And that's where our chicken parmesan comes from. So I'll tell you a funny story about chicken parmesan.
Okay.
I go to a funeral with my grandfather. We're sitting down after that, and he tells the waiter, comes around, he says, yeah, all right, I have Milanese parmesan, eggplant parmesan. So the waiter comes over, and he puts the food down in front of my grandfather. My grandfather leans over to me and says, hey, Frank Anil, I go, what's up, Pop? He go, why did they put a mozzarella cheese on my Parmesan? Because it's called Parmesan because it's supposed to be made with grating cheese, Parmesan cheese. It's not supposed to be made with mozzarella cheese. That's why it's called Parmesan Reggiano.
Right.
Most people don't realize that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever thought about that too much, to be honest.
So if you see the recipe in the cookbook, does not call for mozzarella cheese. It calls for locatelli or Parmigiano Reggiano.
Like a grating cheese.
Grated cheese, correct.
Mariano, let me ask you, how important is it for your family to pass these recipes down from generation to generation?
It's really important because in my family, I'm me with my two sisters, and I'm the only one in the company because it's a hard work with a lot of passion, and all my sisters say, yeah, we love this work, we love this company, but we don't have the same passion. Because you need to follow your authors, to help your authors in every moment. You need to, if your authors call at 2 a.m. because he's in the U.S., or call at 4 a.m., you need to answer to help him in all the way that you can help him. Because we have a lot of events in Europe, in U.S., and we have every time with different times. But the key for the organization is take the phone with you, and try to set it up everything before the event. But sometimes everything can happen, and you need to try to figure out to have the most.
Since we're talking about
events,
Graus always, whenever I go to Italy, they have events set up for me. They ask me when I'm coming, and they say, okay, we can do an event here, we can do an event there, we can do an event here. Then also they create the events in the United States for me, either at the Italian consulate or at a traditional Italian restaurant like Song e Napoli.
Yeah.
Or anywhere where they can find traction, where they can reach the audience, which is the other thing which you don't see from the publishing houses here. Unless you're writing, with Schulster or a big publisher, you don't get any backing. You don't get any backing. And Graus, once you've signed on as an author with them, they back you. When are you coming? When do you want us to go? And they will create events for you so that you have events to go to promote your book. Which is a very big thing. And one of the things that Mariano is trying to do now is he's trying to... Mariano, what's the theme that you're trying to do for your authors in Naples? Trying to build a location for them to do... Can you explain that?
We try to find a place in Naples for have a location for all the events, all the cultural events. We try to find this place because it's hard to find because Naples is a big city, but the space is like New York. So every space is little. So we try to find a beautiful place with a nice view for all the events of Graus or for all the cultural Italy that they can come and do some cultural for help the people around the city and put out their message.
That's awesome. All right, Mariano, thank you so much for getting on the line all the way from Naples. I hope to meet you next time you're in New York.
Thank you to everybody.
Okay, have a great night.
Ciao, Mariano.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. on AM 970 The Answer. Tune in next week for a show with Jay Reifel. Jay is a chef, culinary historian, and co-author of a book called The History of the World in 10 Dinners. This book explores 10 pivotal moments in world history through the lens of food and dining, and each chapter revolves around a historically significant meal or dinner party. This is definitely going to be different than any other topic we've covered so far, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. But that's the show for tonight. Thanks for listening and have a great night.
The preceding program is sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.